All right, here's our boy John Morant, and he's at it again. I don't know if he has his bazooka out on this one or if he's dual wielding his pistols. He's probably dual wielding his pistols. It looks like he probably saw that on Halo 3 and thought it would look pretty cool, so he did it on the court. I'll start off by saying I live here in Texas. There's firearms all over the place. So many people have firearms, and I'm not against, people having or carrying their firearms. I don't think it's a humongous deal for people to do the finger guns on the court. Kids play cops and robbers, and kids play cowboys, whatever. Kids play with their airsoft guns, with their toy popper guns. And we live in America, and guns are just ingratiated into the culture. Um, they're just all over the place, especially here in Texas, Tennessee, and the other legal states. So I have no problem with people owning firearms, carrying them on themselves. I have no problem with doing finger guns because I don't think it's a gigantic deal to do the finger guns. But I was watching Gilbert's Arena, my guilty pleasure, and they were talking about the incident with John Morant, and Gilbert Arenas was saying, what Ja did, as far as when he was brandishing the pistol in the strip club on Instagram Live, he was brandishing his pistol in the car on Instagram Live. There was another incident where I don't know if y'all remember, but he shined the red laser on the Pacers tour bus, and Pacers security took that really seriously. They thought someone was actually pointing a gun at their bus. They took that really seriously. The other incident where he beats up a teenager at his house and then threatens to go inside to get his gun because the teenager was cooking him on one-on-one. I don't know what it was, but he had that incident. So that's already four different incidents. So he has a history, just like if you get arrested and you have prior crimes on your record, you're going to get a more severe punishment than somebody who's a first time offender. So my main issue is not so much Ja doing the finger guns and whatnot. I don't think that's a huge deal. If he feels like he's in danger and he needs to carry a firearm around Memphis, I would just say you have so much money, just hire some security if you think you're in danger. But it's not about him feeling in danger or anything like that. It's just about him recording himself on IG Live, brandishing his pistols and dancing with them just for clout to impress strippers. I don't know what it is, but he feels the need to do that for whatever reason. So I'm watching my guilty pleasure, Gilbert's Arena. They're talking about this, and Gilbert says, what John Morant's doing, it's no different than somebody that goes to the gun store and buys a new rifle, new handgun, whatever it is, and they take a picture holding their new rifle, pistol, whatever they bought, just to kind of show off the new weapon they bought online onto Instagram, which that kind of makes sense. I get what he's saying there. Jaw's dancing with his weapons to show off his weapons, and then someone else that just bought a new firearm, they're doing the same thing as far as wanting to show off their weapons. Gilbert made another point like, oh, it's no different than hunting, which made no sense to me. I feel like it's almost like a kind of like a first take vibe on Gil's Arena. It's different, but I feel like Gilbert's just going to take the wildest take he possibly can. Then Kenyon Martin and Rashad McCants are going to take, a different side so they can have some kind of debate. Nobody wants to see everybody just agree on the same topic and then they have a 3-minute conversation and it's like awesome. We all agree. I can't tell if Gilbert's being serious or not. He seems like he is, but he just always takes the wildest side of the takes. But yeah, he was saying that it's no different than somebody going hunting or buying a firearm and taking a picture of their firearm and posting it to Instagram so people can see their new firearm. But it is different. I mean, Josh is dancing with his firearms and posting himself on IG Live, which makes no sense. If you want to be in your car with your boys dancing with your pistol, like I don't care, that's fine. If you want to be in the strip club, um, obviously drunk, dancing with the stripper and your pistol, like that's fine too. But don't post yourself onto Instagram Live and then act like because Ja lately he's acting like he's the victim in all this. Lexi Brown on Gil's Arena was saying, man, the NBA's picking on Ja Morant, and they made a good point. They were saying other players do the finger gun celebration, they don't get punished for it. So Lexi Brown's point was just go ahead and ban that celebration from the NBA and keep it consistent. Don't just pick on Ja Morant or punish Ja Morant when a lot of other players do the same finger gun, bazooka, whatever it is, celebrations. And that makes sense as far as from that standpoint. But John Morant's a repeat offender when it comes to these things. If you get arrested, two people get arrested for the same crime, but someone else has a prior history, they're going to be punished more than the person that has a clean record. And it's really the same type of deal in the NBA. It's the same thing, just the same thing in life. If if you get in trouble for the same thing over and over again and you don't learn and change your behavior, people can get impatient with you, just like the NBA is getting impatient with Ja and say, dude, when is it enough? I'll move on from the finger guns and from holding guns, having a concealed carry. Because again, I'm from Texas. I support that. I don't think doing finger guns just in a vacuum is a gigantic deal. But John Morant had the incident where he's dancing in his car with the pistol. He's obviously drunk. They're leaving the bar, and he records himself on Instagram Live. I don't care if you want to dance with your pistol with your boys, that's fine, but why are you going to record yourself on Instagram Live doing it? The other incident was he's in the strip club, he's dancing with the stripper, brandishing his pistol in the strip club. In Tennessee, you're allowed to bring your pistol into the bar, into the club, but it's illegal if you're consuming alcohol and you have your firearm on you. That's when it becomes illegal. So Gilbert Arenas was saying, Ja didn't do anything illegal, Ja didn't do anything illegal, and he's just so stuck on his point. Once his mind is made up one way, like he stops taking in any other information. He's just stuck on his point. But that was illegal. Once Ja started consuming alcohol, he's obviously drunk in the video. And again, if you want to get drunk and dance with your pistols out with strippers, that's fine, but don't record yourself on Instagram Live and then act like the NBA is picking on you or act like you're a victim in the situation when you're just recording yourself doing things that are against the league's policy. I mean, that instance, it was illegal. Like I said, it's illegal to be drinking in the club with your firearm on you. You can bring it into the club, but you can't be getting drunk while you have it on you. So that was actually illegal in that instance. He didn't get any legal repercussions for that, so he's lucky in that aspect. The other incident, he's flashing the red laser beams at the Pacers tour bus. Pacers security took that really serious. They thought someone was actually pointing a gun at their bus, and it's just like a joke to John Morant. The other incident, he beats up a teenager in his driveway at his house. I don't know if the teenager was busting his ass on one-on-one or what happened, but John Morant beats him up and threatens to go inside to get his gun. And John Morant grew up middle class. He didn't grow up in the hood. He doesn't need to be doing all of that. So that's where I feel like it's different with what Gilbert Arenas was saying. Somebody buys a firearm at the gun store and they take a picture, with their firearm just to show off their new gun and let people know, hey, look, I got this badass gun, and other gun enthusiasts might see it and say, man, that's badass. You're gonna have fun hunting with that, whatever it was, because Gilbert Arenas compared it to hunting as well. But the difference is those guys, they're not showing off their firearm to try to look cool or try to impress people. Where John Morant, he's in the club, he's drunk, he's in the car with his boys, just dancing with his pistols and posting on IG Live to impress strippers or to look cool for who knows who, and it just makes no sense to me. But moving on from the firearm stuff, because like I said, I'm not against people having a concealed carry, carrying a firearm on them in their house, in their car. Um, but again, it just makes no sense to me to be dancing with it on IG Live, especially when here's the major difference. If you're a hunter or someone else that bought a firearm, you post a picture of yourself on IG Live with your firearm, that's one thing. But when you're recording yourself doing things that are against the league's code of conduct, as far as brandishing firearms, being in the club, getting drunk, and showing off firearms, then posting on IG Live, and then acting like you're a victim. Gilbert Arenas and Lexi Brown were saying, man, they're just picking on John Morant. They keep picking on John Morant. And again, they do have a point because other people do the firearm celebration and they don't get in trouble for it. So Lexi Brown was saying, just take that out of the league. Just say nobody can do the celebration anymore, and then that way at least it's even across the board. And I would agree that's a good point. But with John Moran, again, I listed the four incidences: the incident in the car, in the strip club, the laser pointers at the Pacers. I was going to say the tour bus at the Pacers team bus. Incident where he beats up a teenager and says he's going to go inside to get his firearm. And then, especially when he didn't even grow up in that environment, it makes no sense. Gun violence is really, really bad in Memphis, Tennessee. This year, these past few years, and a lot of kids look up to John Morant. And if they see John Morant, getting drunk in the club and dancing with his pistol in front of strippers, they're gonna see him as a role model, and they're gonna want to hang out with strippers, brandish firearms, dance with their guns on IG Live, and it just looks really bad as a role model. And it's crazy how like Gilbert Arenas doesn't see it that way, and how John Morant doesn't see himself as a role model. He had a quote where he says, "Oh, every little negative thing I do, they're gonna talk about it, so I just don't even care anymore." And it's just a bad attitude. I feel like you have the best job in the world. You're blessed to make hundreds of millions of dollars to play NBA basketball, and then he acts like he's bigger than the NBA, or the NBA is gonna stop running if he left the league. And he just doesn't care about being a role model. Whether you chose to be one or not, you are a role model for the kids in Memphis. And just to kind of feed into and promote the gun culture in Memphis is not really what the city needs right now, in my opinion, especially with all the gun violence going on. But moving on from the gun stuff, the main thing, it's not about holding weapons or having weapons in his car or his home. That's the laws in Tennessee. He can do that. I have no problem with that. Him doing finger guns on the court, I don't think it's a gigantic deal, like I said before, to do finger guns. But the main thing is, you have the history of the gun incidents, and then do the finger guns one time. Adam Silver says, "Hey, you can't do that, bro." Do it again the very next night. Adam Silver says, "You really can't do that, bro," and fines him $75,000. Then the very next game, he does it again. It's just a big fuck you to the NBA and a big fuck you to Adam Silver, and that's the main thing. I always say I have a job, you guys have a job. There are certain rules I have to follow at my job, and I'm not getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars to do my job. If I was in the NBA players' position, if they said, "Hey, bro, you can't, blinking's against the rules. When you're playing basketball, you can't blink for the whole game." I'm not gonna blink my eyes one time. Like, if you have this kind of opportunity, and you don't agree with the rules, or you want to be on IG Live and brandishing weapons and whatever, that's fine. But don't act like you're the victim when you get punished. Lexi Brown, Gilbert Arenas, they were saying, man, they're just picking on Ja. They're picking on Ja. And then Kenyon Martin made the point. He's picking on himself. He posts himself on IG Live. The league tells him 2 times you can't do that. Fines him 75,000 the second time, and then the very next game he does it again. Again, it's just a big fuck you to the NBA, and that's the main thing that Adam Silver and other people are talking about. It's not a small thing like saying, "Oh, he did the finger guns," like now gun violence in Memphis is going to rise by 20% just because John Morant did that. It's not what people are saying. It's more the fuck you to the NBA, saying fuck you to Adam Silver, who is your boss when you have the best job in the world. Again, if John Morant left the NBA, it would keep on going, but he acts like he's bigger than the entire league. He acts like the NBA owes something to him when he owes all of his wealth and all these great things in his life to the NBA. And that's not me saying he should just do every single thing the NBA says and have no personality, but it's not a hard fix to do. Like, they just said, stop doing gun gestures in the game, and he does it again and again, 3 times in a row, just to say fuck you to Adam Silver, and to say, fuck you to his job when he has the best job in the whole world. So that's the main part I don't get. I get it. I don't like listening to my boss. They say some things that I don't agree with. Sure, the same thing happens to you guys, but this is not a hard thing to just stop doing. Like Lexi Brown was saying, you should just ban the celebration throughout the NBA. And I don't know if I agree or disagree with that. Again, I don't think it's a big deal to do some little finger guns. You're not hurting anybody. But the main thing, like I was saying, is just the big old fuck you to Adam Silver, to the NBA. And then you do that. You have your 4 incidents again, like I said, in the car on IG Live, dancing in the club, obviously drunk with the stripper on IG Live, and that was illegal because he's consuming alcohol while he has his firearm on him in the club, pointing the red lights at the Pacers team bus, and that was a really big deal. Security was really worried that somebody was actually pointing a gun at the bus. The other incident, beats up a teenager in his driveway and threatens to go get his gun. Like, for what? I don't understand. Just to threaten a teenager, or like maybe he thought that news wasn't going to get out. That just makes no sense to me. So you have those 4 incidences. The NBA knows about that. So you have that prior history, and then you do the celebration 3 times in a row. And then the first time you did it, they didn't even fine you. Second time they fine you 75,000. You do it again. Again, like I was saying, it's just a big fuck you to your boss, and then just not appreciating, the awesome opportunity you have in the NBA. He'd rather, I don't know, be a rebel or just do whatever he wants. And then the thing that's most frustrating is him playing the victim card and saying, well, just the other day he says every little negative thing I do, people are gonna bring it up, and I just don't even care anymore. Like, I guess that's fine. You don't have to care, but it's not a hard fix or to stop doing finger guns in NBA games. It's not like, you know, he can't help himself or he can't help to stop doing it. Like, he consciously knows what he's doing, and he knows he's just saying fuck you to the NBA and Adam Silver. And then that's the main thing that frustrates me is him playing the victim card. Gilbert Arenas and Lexi Brown saying, "Man, they're picking on Ja Morant." It's like you're picking on yourself, dude. Just stop doing that. And it's a super easy fix. There's no need to be doing the celebration. And again, it's not about the finger gun celebration. I don't care about that. I don't care if he wants to carry firearms in Tennessee because it's totally legal for him to do that. But the main thing, like I was saying, it's just acting like that to your boss, acting like that, to the NBA, who's done so many wonderful things for you, giving you this awesome opportunity that a lot of people will never get in their life, and then acting like the NBA owes you something or you're bigger than the entire NBA league. But please comment below what you think. I'm at a big 35 subscribers as well. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the Ja Morant situation too.